What did Srila Vyasadeva see in meditation? No. From question 5. What is a Brahmabandhu? 19. What is a Brahmabandhu? A Brahmabandhu is not exactly a qualified Brahmana. It means a friend of a Brahmana. It means he is not a Brahmana by qualification. Then question 6. Explain the analogy of the darkness depending on the existence of the sun. 23. Darkness is a perverse representation of the sun, and therefore the existence of darkness depends on the existence of the sun, but in the sun proper, there is no trace of darkness. As the sun is full of light only, similarly, the absolute personality of God beyond the material existence is full of bliss. He has nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material manifestation because he's far above the material creation. Question 7. What is the standard procedure for presenting something before the Lord? 26. Anything that is presented before the personality of Godhead should be so done after due presentation of respectful prayers. That is the standard procedure. Question 8. How powerful is the heat produced by the Brahmastra? 30 and 31. The heat created by the flash of a Brahmastra resembles the fire exhibited in the sun globe at the time of cosmic annihilation. The radiation of atomic energy is very insignificant in comparison to the heat produced by a Brahmastra. Somebody please remind me in the Bhakti Vaibhav group that I should start preparing an answer bank.
You yourself?
One stop end to the controversies.
Okay, no problem. I'll send you the answer bank.
What?
I will send you the answer bank.
You're preparing an answer bank?
I do for myself always.
Then I need to check it.
Yeah, fine. Check it. I generally do it roughly, just copy and paste it. I'll have to make it proper then, if I have to share it with you.
Do it in Google Doc and share the link with me.
Okay. I generally
do it properly.
Just rough before exam, just we go through that.
See, if you do, then you'll go on giving me and how we'll assemble it.
What?
Okay, we'll do one thing. You do it in Microsoft Word. You send me unit by unit.
Okay, fine. I'll send you chapter by chapter. I go through chapter by chapter.
When you start a new chapter, unit by unit.
It will be, see how it will be done then. When you start a new chapter, before the day you start, I prepare the answer sheet of that chapter.
No, because you see, you have to, it is meant for this, what is this thing called? Student handbook. It is for the student handbook. So we have to go unit by unit.
Fine.
Okay, you give me chapter by chapter. You give me chapter by chapter. I'll assemble it. Purva Swadhyaya. Preliminary self-study has to be dealt with. What else has to be dealt with? What else they have a general problem with? They have a problem with these small questions. Yeah, only preliminary self-study will prepare. I'll prepare based on what you give. The heat created by the flash of a Brahmastra resembles the fire exhibited in the sun globe at the time of cosmic annihilation. The radiation of atomic energy is very insignificant in comparison to the heat produced by a Brahmastra. The atomic bomb explosion can at most blow up one globe, but the heat produced by the Brahmastra can destroy the whole cosmic situation. Next. Although the Brahmastra was released on this earth, the heat produced by the combination of both weapons covered all the universe and all the populations on all the different planets began to feel the heat excessively and compared it to that of the Samvartaka fire. Question 9. What general principles does Srila Prabhupada draw from the retraction of both Brahmastra weapons by Arjuna? 32. The world can be drawn and destroyed only by the will of the Lord and not by the whims of tiny politicians. That is the only thing I can see here regarding retraction of both the master weapons. The extent of the destructions of modern atomic bomb explosions is not related to this question. That is a different remark. It's a different observation by Prabhupada in contrast to this. It has nothing to do with the retraction of the Brahmastra weapon as such. It's a remark, it's a comparison between the Brahmastra and the modern atomic bomb explosions. Identify the arguments for and against the execution of Ashwatthama. 35 to 54. 35 to 54. Let me open another database that I just look for. Just looking at the translations. Identify the arguments for and against the execution of Ashwatthama. Execution means killing. 35 to 54. That should have been a full stop after the word Ashwatthama in the question. Okay. For the execution, here is one reason. He has killed innocent boys in their sleep. Therefore, he should be killed. And the basis for that is text 36. He has to be killed for his own good. Otherwise, he'll be punished even more by Yamaraj. It's another reason for the execution. Arjuna has promised Draupadi that he would bring forth the head of Ashwatthama who had killed her sons. The promise has to be fulfilled. That's another reason. This man, he is, on top of it, he is an aggressor. He has also dissatisfied his master. Yes. Therefore, he should be killed. Another reason. For. Um, Against. He is a Brahmana, our spiritual master. Even the son of a Brahmana, he is honored. The immediate son of a qualified Brahmana is honored. He is a representative of Dronacharya, from whom, okay, the reason why he is respected as a Brahmana is spelled out in text 44-45, that he represents Dronacharya. So that is one reason. Another reason. You should not cause grief to his family members. That is 46-47. Another reason. You should not offend the Brahmana order and enrage them. They will become angry. That should not happen. So that's another reason. Bhima's argument is reinforcing Lord Krishna's argument. Krishna has summarized all of these arguments. A friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed. Brahmabandhu, the immediate son of a qualified Brahmana, is not to be killed. But an aggressor has to be killed. And the same person may be a friend of a Brahmana and an aggressor. Arjuna should fulfill his promise to his wife, but he should also satisfy Bhima and Krishna.
So you should write just the summary, Krishna's conclusion.
Krishna's conclusion is simply saying the same thing. It is not saying...
Yeah, same thing. Therefore, we'll just write Krishna's conclusion.
He is not giving any new argument.
Therefore, he
Krishna is not
covers
giving
everything.
any new argument.
He's covering everything. So just...
No, some other things might be there.
I think he has covered all those things.
No, Draupadi says the Brahmana order should not be enraged unless you want to bring it under the argument, a friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed. Maybe the friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed because the genuine Brahmanas will become enraged. In that case, you can take this as the actual list, and the previous ones are simply providing details for this. What pure devotional characteristics are here seen in Draupadi 43? This question was made very intentionally. Okay, this is the point. A devotee of the Lord can tolerate all sorts of tribulations personally, but still such devotees are never unkind to others, even to the enemy. These are the characteristics of one who is a pure devotee of the Lord. Well, what was the motive of the Lord in this incident? 55. An understanding question, why it is here. The motive of the Lord was that Ashwatthama should be killed and he should not be killed. That's all. Okay. I am saying it on record. So that is the answer for that. Analogies 1.7.4. These are all purports to these verses, not the actual verses. The internal energy is there along with the absolute person as the moonlight is there with the moon. 1.7.5. The king puts the disobedient citizens within the walls of the jail, but sometimes the king, desiring the prisoners personally goes there, pleads for reformation, and on his doing so, the prisoners reform and are set free. Similarly, the Supreme Lord descends from his kingdom upon the kingdom of illusory energy and personally gives relief in the form of the Bhagavad Gita. 1.7.23. Darkness is a perverse representation of the sun, and therefore the existence of darkness depends on the existence of the sun, but in the sun proper, there is no trace of darkness. If I get to teach Bhakti Vaibhav again, I think I should read out this summary before each unit. No, nicely done. It's a clear presentation. Okay, discussion topics. Presentation to the Lord made after recitation of respectful prayers that we saw. Vyasadeva's vision and philosophical principles drawn thereof. 4 to 6. In the next round, I'll make the students speak on all these discussion topics. That will be very nice. Each one gets 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, you have to speak on each point. I cannot simply read out the thing. They can display the thing, but they need to speak from their own to get to know whether they understood it correctly. Okay, Vyasadeva's vision and philosophical principles drawn there of 4 to 6. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll deal with discussion topics. I'll try to deal with the discussion topics on the basis of the translation. Let's see if that is possible. First of all, why does it say presentation to the Lord made after recitation of respectful prayers 26? Cannot be 26. Is it 26? It is 26. From 22 onwards, he is describing the position of Lord Krishna. He is presenting Sambandha Gyan. He's talking about the glories of the Lord and why he has descended, why he is taking care of his devotees, the Pandavas. And then he is praying to the Lord for protection. Vyasadeva's vision and philosophical principles drawn thereof, 4 to 6. That was part of previous unit. Shukadeva Goswami's Bhagavatam study and principles drawn thereof, previous unit. Atmarama's previous unit. 1.7.1 previous unit. 1.7.2 previous unit. 1.7.3 previous unit. 1.7.4 previous unit. 1.7.5 previous unit. 1.7.6 previous unit. 1.7.7 previous unit. 1.7.8 previous unit. 1.7.9 previous unit. 1.7.10 previous unit. 1.7.11 previous unit. 1.7.12 previous unit. 1.7.13 previous unit. 1.7.14 previous unit. 1.7.15 previous unit. 1.7.16 previous unit. 1.7.17 previous unit. 1.7.18 previous unit. 1.7.19 previous unit. 1.7.20 previous unit. 1.7.21 previous unit. 1.7.22 previous unit. 1.7.23 previous unit. 1.7.24 previous unit. 1.7.25 previous unit. 1.7.26 previous unit. 1.7.27 previous Ashwatthama's being simultaneously killed and not killed, 56. Ashwatthama's money, the jewel from his head, that was cut off. So he lost his bodily luster. That is as good as death. He lost even more strength. Then he was unbound and driven out of the camp. That is as good as killing him. But he was kept alive. That is not killing him. Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam as a must for peace in society. Why is it X7? Okay. Because Srimad Bhagavatam, because if one gives oral reception to this Vedic literature, this refers to Srimad Bhagavatam, which was referred to in text 6, Satvata Samhita. Then Krishna Prema Bhakti arises, which destroys Shoka Moha Bhaya. 13 to 14. Srimad Bhagavatam begins where the Mahabharata ended. In a literal sense, actually. So from that, we can infer that Bhagavatam is a description of various events, but in relationship to Lord Krishna with proper Sambandha Gyan, which is what will lead to peace in society. It is that Sambandha which will bring about a desire for Prayojana and will impel the audience to engage in Avidaya with faith in Pramana, which will lead to peace in society. Arguments for and against execution of Ashwatthama we saw. Violence carried out on religious principles is superior to so-called non-violence, 36. The person who knows the principles of religion does not kill an enemy who is careless, intoxicated, insane, asleep, afraid, or devoid of his chariot, nor does he kill a boy, a woman, a foolish creature, or a surrendered soul. This implies that anybody else who is unnecessarily disturbing the praja are meant to be killed. They're meant to be very severely punished. You are meant to strike terror in the hearts of potential criminals. That is the whole idea. It's not simply forgiving them and all that. Then, Manu identifies animal slaughters, punishable conspirators. 7, this comes into purpose. He who gives permission, he who kills the animal, he who sells the slaughtered animal, he who cooks the animal, he who administers distribution of the foodstuff. And at last, he who eats such cooked animal food are all murderers, and all of them are liable to be punished by the laws of nature. So these are the co-conspirators. Women lack the discriminatory power that men have, 42. This also must be commended. Women as a class are like boys, young boys, and therefore they have no discriminatory power like that of a man. Shotama proved himself to be an unworthy son of Dronacharya or of a Brahmana, and for this reason he was condemned by the greatest authority, Lord Sri Krishna. And yet a mild woman could not withdraw her natural courtesy for a Brahmana. In other words, they are just impulsive. This is a simple fact. Unit 2. What is this? Why am I in Unit 2?
You should be in Unit 3.
Chapter 8. Preliminary sub-study. 1. Why were the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana killed by their lord? They had cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthira, who had no enemy. That means who was not inimical towards anyone. Okay, this is still, but this is a short answer
One
question.
more, I think others also, their duration of life having decreased for the rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi.
I cannot show you.
There is, in the translation, in the last line, others also died, their durations of life having decreased for the rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi.
But also that is the point that comes. That these 5 categories, Brahmanas, cows, women, children, and old persons, they are meant to be protected. Even if any one of them are not taken care of or they are improperly dealt with.
Your voice started breaking, Prabhu. I think it is because the microphone is not charged. Probably we are just using it. We check. Okay, it is charged.
These videos.
Video off and then try. Not able to hear at all.
Now can you hear?
No, it's very much, I mean, breaking. Just remove the microphone jack and then speak, please.
Sorry, microphone is not bad. Can you hear me now? Am I audible?
Very weak.
Okay, anyway, I'm going to explain this. Such a chaste woman wants to bring about disaster in the duration of life. Dushasana, brother of Duryodhana, insulted Draupadi, an ideal chaste lady. Therefore, the miscreants died untimely. This is another reason to read. Identified 5 groups who were properly given protection in Vedic times. Protection of qualified Brahmanas, protection of cows, protection of women, protection of children, protection of women. Now, Brahmanas means all Brahmanas, not only Brahmanas in India, all qualified Brahmanas. Qualified means they exhibit the guna of Brahmanas. Cows means all cows, not only cows from the Indian cows, Deshi cows, all cows. Just as protection means all women, not only Indian.
Prabhu, will you change your network and see?
Right.
And please increase your voice here, that sound level also.
Only the 5G is connected. I'm switching to JPS R35.
Fine. And increase your sound level also, Prabhu. This from here down.
And speaker.
No, means inside if you'll go, then microphone also comes by clicking here itself. And volume mixer.
You know, the Zoom one. Only things in Zoom, you cannot see anything. They have printed a copy of the books and printed a copy of the student handbook.
Microphone access.
Okay, can you hear me now, or should I remove this microphone itself?
Yeah, you please remove the microphone itself.
Now?
Still it is weak.
Can you hear me now?
Little bit, yeah, little bit finer than previous.
Okay, so children, old men, all of them have to be taken care of. Then, 3, why did Uttara, Abhimanyu's widow, not follow the path of her husband? 10. She was pregnant. As Parikshit, a great devotee of the Lord, was lying in a widow. She was responsible for his protection. These are all the good old days when they were anti-abortionists. So, why did the Lord establish the rule of Maharaj Yudhishthira? 11. Pandava family was a family of devotees, and therefore the Lord wanted them to rule the world. He did not like the idea that the world should be without the Pandavas, the ideal family of devotees. Question 5. Under Sri Krishna's taking of the Sudarshan disk in the cave. So it in the caves. Although the battle of Kurukshetra was almost finished, still according to his vow, he should not have taken up this on record. The emergency was more important than the vow. He is better known as the Bhaktavatsala, or the lover of the community, and thus preferred to continue as Bhaktavatsala and to be a worldly moralist who never breaks his solemn vow. Question 6. Describe the nature of a chaste devotee of the Lord. 17. This means another devotion. That a chaste devotee of the Lord has another devotion to Lord Krishna. A chaste devotee of the Lord does not look to others, namely any other living being or demigod, even for deliverance from danger. Question 7. Why are demons reluctant to accept the Lord as the absolute truth? 19. This is partially due to that poor fund of knowledge and partially due to their stubborn obstinacy, which results from various misdeeds in the past and present. Question 8. Explain why women generally assemble in great number in religious functions. 20. Women in general are unable to speculate like philosophers, but they are blessed by the Lord because they believe at once in the superiority and almightiness of the Lord. Thus offer obeisances without reservation. Question 9. Why does King Kunti specifically adore the incarnation or descent of Krishna? 21. King Kunti specifically adores the incarnation or descent of Lord Krishna above all other incarnations. Because in this particular incarnation, he is more approachable. Question 10. What does the name Govinda indicate? 21. His pastimes with Nanda and Yashoda and his pastimes with the cowherd men, and especially The covered boys and the cows have caused him to be known as the Section 11. What principle can be drawn from Krishna's respective treatment of Kunti and Devaki 23? What is a general principle that will be drawn?
Reason is that
Kunti Devi was a widow. There was none to help her except Krishna. Krishna endows more favor to a devotee who is in greater dangers. Sometimes he puts his pure devotees in such dangers because in that condition of helplessness, the devotee becomes more attached to the Lord. The more the attachment is there for the Lord, the more success is there for the devotee. Section 12. Explain why so-called calamities are welcome. 5. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though they are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. Question 13. What is the meaning of Akinchana Gocharam 26? Akinchana Gocharam, one who is approached easily by the materially exhausted man. Your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. And 14. Explain why the 4 principles of material advancement are disqualifications. 26. Materially puffed up person may utter the holy name of the Lord occasionally, but is incapable of uttering the name in quality.
it starts with a line before a helpless man can feelingly utter the holy name of the Lord. Whereas a man
I cannot hear you.
It starts a line before this particular line. A helpless man can feelingly utter the holy name of the Lord, whereas a man who utters the holy name in great material satisfaction cannot be so sincere. And then a materially
puffed up person may utter the holy name of the Lord occasionally, but he is incapable of uttering the name in quality. Therefore, the 4 principles of material advancement, namely high parentage, good wealth, high education, and attractive beauty, are, so to speak, disqualifications for progress on the path of spiritual advancement. Question 15. Why is the specific example of Srila Sanatana Goswami and the touchstone given 27? This specific example is given for the neophyte devotees just to convince them that material hankerings and spiritual advancement go ill together. Question 16. What principles can be drawn from Kunti's expression of bewilderment in verse 31? I think before the next round of Bhakti Yoga, I like to edit some of these questions. Do an answer to this. So let's understand it.
I think, yeah, it's understanding, but just one line, I think we can write indirectly, Mother Yashoda is praised for his unique position of love, for she could control even the all-powerful Lord as her beloved child. But before that, I mean, we can write this different things.
Yeah, I think that's the best. All right. Yes, that's all. Question 17. Why did Kunti Devi pray to Krishna to sever her affection from her own kinsman? 41, 42. Okay. I think this is where it goes. Pure devotee of the Lord is ashamed to ask anything in self-interest from the Lord, but the householders are sometimes obliged to ask favors from the Lord, being bound by the tie of family affection. Srimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact. Therefore, she prayed to the Lord to cut off her affectionate tie to her own kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. Question 18. This reasons why Yudhishthira could not be convinced by the Lord. So I'll take it off now. Yeah. First reason was he was meant to help others, but it is instead he has caused the death of many Akrohinis. Another reason is caused the death of so many boys, brahmanas, well-wishers, friends, parents, preceptors, and brothers of the ones who had come for war.
Question is, Prabhu, why Yudhishthir could not be convinced by the Lord?
These are his
Prabhupada writes,
reasons. Because Krishna
Prabhupada,
already gave so many reasons, and this is simply spelling out his way of thinking because he was still not convinced. See,
yeah, Prabhupada writes because in the purport he writes because Krishna did not wanted him to be convinced because he wanted Vishnu's glories to be propagated, some kind of something like that in purport.
what then you look at the purport from 46 to 51, all of that should be having so many different points. There are not so many points.
See, he did not, Prabhupada writes directly in 46. He did not allow the king to be convinced by the words of Vyasa and others, including himself, because he
Because
desired
he
that
was
the,
Adbhuta Karmana. He is a performer of
yes,
superhuman feats.
yeah. So I mean, it was the main, this was the main reason that
Then what are the subordinate reasons there?
subordinate reasons, of course, there are whatever Krishna told. I mean, the same thing Vishnu Dev is also telling, but he got convinced.
Now that we need to check from Mahabharata to see whether, because whatever I understand, Bhishma did not speak what Krishna spoke. Vishnu spoke
Okay.
so many things. He spoke, first of all, he brought out the entire concept of dharma, why it is there. So many things he explained. I think it is two cantos in Mahabharata.
But I think the question is why he was not convinced by the Lord.
But there, look at that list, reasons, plural. That is only one
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
Krishna is Adbhuta Karma.
Yeah.
So
Then
reasons means
also
plural, no?
yes, plural. So we have to look in the purport. There comes different reasons also Prabhupada gives. Besides
Okay,
this,
let's
the Lord
examine.
also desired that King Yudhishthir be pacified by the words of Bhishmadev so that the world could see the Bhishmadev excelled all in knowledge, including the
All
Lord
of that is
himself.
just one. That's all. See, he wanted to glorify Bhishma. That's what he would decide that the king hear instructions from the time Bhishma. Okay, that is one reason. Other reasons?
Okay, then you have to give subordinate reasons. I mean,
So the subordinate reasons are the ones spelled out by Yudhishthir himself.
yeah.
It's not only whatever Krishna, he could not be convinced by the Lord, he could not be convinced by Krishna, could not be convinced by Veda Vyasa, he could not be convinced by the sages. And Yudhishthir's counter arguments are presented here. He's saying that there is no sin for a king. So all these things that all of you are saying that it is right, it is proper, that applies to a bona fide king, but I am not a bona fide king. That is his whole point. He considers himself responsible for the sins and due to all the killing that had happened. Right? This is also one reason that the administration was going on properly under Duryodhana. So then why disturb that? Because you're not supposed to. A war can only be declared when there is violence committed by the government towards its citizens, and you are trying to prevent that internal violence. It created so much enmity because he's killed so many relatives of innocent women. That means either the woman's husband or brother or father or sons. Friends and relatives means friendly relatives. In Varnashama Dharma, you cannot be a friend of a woman unless you are related to her in a particular manner, and there are particular protocols with which you deal with women. And they had suggested that he should perform sacrifices, but his counter argument is these sacrifices are not going to help because these sacrifices are also violent. Violence can never remove violence. Okay, analogies from the purports to these verses. 1.8.25, a man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream and he may cry for his calamity. Actually, there is no tiger and there is no suffering. It's simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. 1.8.29, it's never partial, as much as the sun is never partial to anyone. By utilizing the sun's rays, sometimes even the stones become valuable, whereas a blind man cannot see the sun, although there are enough sun rays before him. 1.8.32, he's known as Yadava, Yaduvira, Yadunandana, etc. Although the Lord is always independent of such obligation. He's just like the sandalwood that grows in the Malaya hills. Trees can grow anywhere and everywhere. Yet because the sandalwood trees grow mostly in the area of the Malaya hills, the name sandalwood and the Malaya hills are interrelated. No amount of chosen words is sufficient to enumerate the Lord's glory. And yet he is satisfied by such prayers. As a father is satisfied even by the broken linguistic attempts of the growing child. Discussion topics. Wait, let me open up this. The Lord relishes spontaneous service more than reverential service. 31. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears which washed the mascara from your eyes. And you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. So this is an indication that Krishna, he relishes the spontaneous service of Yashoda Devi more than regular reverential service. To cut off all family affection means to broaden the field of activities. 41 and 42. This I don't think comes in the verse itself. It can be derived from the verse though. O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please therefore sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vishnu. So she wants Krishna to sever the tie of affection for her kinsmen. And she wants something to be cut off, but she wants something from Krishna as a replacement. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. So she wants that her affection for her kinsman be cut off, but she wants that affection for Krishna. Broaden the field of activities. Why like this? Broaden the field of activities. Okay, so this is what broaden the field of activities means. It means he engages in devotional service for all forgotten souls. It means he engages in paropakar, like the 6 Goswamis. Lokanam hitakarinao. So affection towards the Supreme Lord, the way she is saying that I want to be attracted to you and to no one else but you, it also implies this. Our attention is usually diverted to the service of something which is non-godly or not in the program of the Lord. when the program is changed into the service of the Lord, that is to say, when the senses are purified in relation with the service of the Lord, it is called pure devotion, pure unalloyed devotional service. Srimati Kunti Devi wanted that perfection and prayed for it from the Lord. Spiritual paropakar in Bhakti Yoga is also a part of the Lord's program. Okay, then discussion topic. He prefers to be Bhakta Vatsala instead of a worldly moralist 13. That also comes in the purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has clearly promised that his devotees are never to be vanquished, and he behaves according to the quality or degree of the devotional service rendered by the devotees. The Pandavas were 100% dependent on the protection of the Lord, although they were all great warriors themselves. But the Lord neglects even the greatest warriors and also vanquishes them in no time. When the Lord saw that there was no time for the Pandavas to counteract the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama, he took up his weapon, even at the risk of breaking his own vow. Although the battle of Kurukshetra was almost finished, still according to his vow, he should not have taken up his own weapon. But the emergency was more important than the vow. He is better known as the Bhaktavatsala, or the lover of his devotee, and thus he preferred to continue as Bhaktavatsala than to be a worldly moralist who never breaks his solemn vow. Discussion topic. The Lord's reciprocation with those who completely depend upon him. 8, 17, 23. 8. What was it? 8. Okay, this unit I'm going to do all this. From next unit onwards, the students will have to make videos. I'll assign particular discussion topics to particular students, and you will have to make brief videos, 5-minute videos on the points given to you. You will have to share your screen and you will have to explain it, or if you are unable to share your screen, you'll have to think what to do. This is getting too much. 8, 17, 23. Okay. All the members of the family of the Pandavas were completely dependent on the protection of the Lord, and therefore the Lord protected all of them in all circumstances. The Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely upon him is especially looked after by the Lord. The father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusively dependent on the father. Discussion topic. No. Then 17. He reciprocates the dependence of the devotee. A chaste devotee never asks the Lord for help, but the Lord, out of his own accord, is always anxious to render it. This is some topic. The four principles of material advancement are, so to speak, disqualifications for progress on the path of spiritual advancement. I think we saw this, but let me just revisit it. Being materially advanced means taking birth in an aristocratic family and possessing great wealth and education and attractive personal beauty. All materialistic men are mad after pursuing all these material opulences, and this is known as the advancement of material civilization. But the result is that by pursuing all these material assets, one becomes artificially puffed up, intoxicated by such temporary possessions. Consequently, such materially puffed up persons are incapable of uttering the holy name of the Lord by addressing him feelingly, O Govinda, O Krishna. And therefore, they are disadvantages. Topic: The Lord is never partial, 28 to 29. The Lord is never partial. Okay, this is why he's not partial. Because even though he plays like a human being, he appears to be partial to his devotees. That is not the case, because his mercy is equally distributed. And the proof is that all those who died in the fight before the presence of the Lord got salvation without the necessary qualifications, because death before the presence of the Lord purifies the passing soul from the effects of all sins. So he is placed somewhere in the transcendental abode. Therefore, he is never partial. Any other reason? And the reason why he is not partial is he's giving everyone his or her due as the super soul, as the form of time. He's not partial because he's principle centered. The living beings are given as much freedom as they deserve, and misuse of that freedom is the cause of suffering. The devotees of the Lord do not misuse their freedom, and therefore they are the good sons of the Lord. Others who misuse freedom are put into miseries destined by the eternal Kala. The idea is that just as the governments have principles of justice, somebody is put in jail, somebody is given a national award, but you cannot say that the government is partial. It is discriminative, but not partial. Justly discriminative, not unjustly discriminative. Unjust discrimination is partiality. Topic: Maharaj Yudhishthir's dejection, 46 to 52. Yudhishthir would not be convinced. He was very much aggrieved. He was very much aggrieved about the war. He was such a paradukha dukhi. He was aggrieved. But by Krishna's arrangement, he was paradukha dukhi like a pious materialistic man, an unenlightened pious materialistic man. Or you can say, because one may have selfless affection for others, but that has to be based on scriptural enlightenment. And there are different degrees of scriptural enlightenment also, but at least this is even at the lowest level. Scriptural enlightenment means Vedic scriptural enlightenment, which means you consider from the standard of Vedic Dharma, whether it is worth lamenting or not. But Yudhishthira was overwhelmed by materialistic, altruistic affection. So he considers himself sinful, considers his heart to be full of ignorance. He considers that his very body is meant to serve others, but it is brought about because he was supposed to be placed on the throne. So many Akshohinis were killed. So many young boys, Brahmanas, well-wishers, friends, parents, preceptors, and brothers have been killed. So he thinks that Prayashchitta is not going to help me. He also thinks that the war was not fought for the right cause. These reasons are actually wrong. These are actually wrong reasons. These are not right reasons. He has killed so many relatives of women, and he has brought about enmity to such an extent it is not possible to undo it by material welfare work, not even by engaging in scripturally sanctioned animal sacrifices. These are wrong reasons. These reasons are not correct. Bhishma Deva explains why. Even Bhagavatam explains. Because when Yudhishthira actually sat on the throne, then the entire kingdom prospered. Topic: the Brahmanas, cows, women, children, and old men were properly given protection. 5. Yes. Yes. Here, the reasons are spelled out. The protection of the Brahmanas maintains the institution of Varna and Ashrama, the most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. So if Brahmanas are not provided yoga kshema, corresponding to the prescriptions, prohibitions, and allowances of Brahmanas, the entire institution of Varnashrama Dharma, this means Varna Dharma, Ashrama Dharma, Stri Dharma, it also includes progressing towards the mode of goodness and then progressing towards exclusive devotion service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the institution of Varna and Ashrama. That cannot come about unless bona fide Brahmanas are provided Yogakshema. The cows need to be provided Yogakshema because they provide the most miraculous form of food, that is milk, for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain for understanding higher aims of life. The protection of women maintains the chastity of society, by which we can get a good generation for peace, tranquility, and progress of life. Women are not, now, whenever we talk about protection, it means ensuring that they are doing what they are supposed to do, avoiding what they are not supposed to do, and they're allowed to do what they are allowed to do in Shastra. That applies for cows, that applies for women. That applies for children, that applies for old men and old women. Understood. The protection of children gives the highest form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. Such protection of children begins from the very day of begetting a child by the purificatory process of Garbhadan Samskar, the beginning of pure life. Garbhadan Samskar is a set of purifying rituals in an atmosphere of celibacy. The protection of old men gives them a chance to prepare themselves for better life after death. So here, so there are duties pertaining to children, there are duties pertaining to old men, there are duties pertaining to women, there are duties pertaining to cows, there are duties pertaining to brahmanas, and each of them have a particular purpose. And there's a basis for this. This complete outlook is based on factors leading to successful humanity, as against the civilization of polished cats and dogs. The killing of the above-mentioned innocent creatures is totally forbidden because even by insulting them, one loses one's duration of life. In the age of Kali, they are not properly protected, and therefore the duration of life of the present generation is shortened considerably. Topic: Human prosperity flourishes by natural gifts. 40. Human prosperity flourishes by natural gifts and not by gigantic industrial enterprises. The gigantic industrial enterprises are products of a godless civilization, and they cause the destruction of the noble aims of human life. The more we go on increasing such troublesome industries to squeeze out the vital energy of the human being, the more there will be unrest and dissatisfaction of the people in general. Although a few only can live lavishly by exploitation. The natural gifts such as grains and vegetables, fruits, rivers, the hills full of jewels and minerals, and the seas full of pearls are supplied by the order of the Supreme, and as he desires. Material nature produces them in abundance or restricts them at times. The natural law is that the human being may take advantage of these godly gifts of nature and satisfactorily flourish on them, without being captivated by the exploitative motive of lording it over material nature. The more we attempt to exploit material nature according to our whims of enjoyment, the more we shall become entrapped by the reaction of such exploitative animals. This whole purport is nice. It's important. If we have sufficient grains, fruits, vegetables, and herbs, then what is the necessity of running a slaughterhouse and killing poor animals? A man need not kill an animal if he has sufficient grains and vegetables to eat. The flow of river waters fertilizes the fields. There's more than what we need. Minerals are produced in the hills and the jewels in the ocean. If the human civilization has sufficient grains, minerals, jewels, water, milk, etc., then why should it hanker after terrible industrial enterprises at the cost of the labor of some unfortunate men? But all these natural gifts are dependent on the mercy of the Lord. What we need, therefore, is to be obedient to the laws of the Lord and achieve the perfection of human life by devotional service. Then chapter 9. This unit is called what chapter? Chapter 10 is also there?
Up to 9.
What is it? Why this is blank? What is the learning objective?
The same thing, I think, that we discussed, discussion topic. Yes, these are the discussion topic. Again, it's just, they're putting it again.
No, this is very interesting. Learning objectives have been good. But discussion topics, actually, the students should make brief videos, 5-minute videos. Maximum 10 minutes. Okay, tomorrow we'll do it and deal with the remaining preliminary self-study. But from the next unit, I think the students should make a discussion topic videos. We'll divide it. We'll divide it. Learning objectives I will deal with.
Video or just we'll present it here. I mean, one can prepare and share a screen while
No,
making
that's
video.
very dangerous. That's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Make videos. Make videos and post.
Oh, come on. And if someone does not have the facility to make videos, then what?
What? You have a mobile phone. What more you need to make a video? You Zoom. Just make a video. Just you yourself make a presentation and record it. That's all. That's the video. Then you share it. Oh, that should be done. Very useful. Very useful. We'll also ensure that everybody is studying. Okay, we'll stop with that. Paditanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.